Okay, good afternoon and welcome to another series of our Snacktime Snippet. Today, we are going to be sharing with you some of the features and capabilities around GovCon365. And we're going to start off with some purchase requisitions. And within purchase requisitions, we're going to show you how to create one, how to source the material or subcontract labor or equipment that you're looking for, and then how to convert that into a purchase order. So with me doing this is Paul Skirpsky. So welcome, Paul.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. And good morning or afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. Looking forward to show you a little bit about the purchase requisition process. So inside of Microsoft Dynamics, there's multiple ways to create a purchase order. You can create a purchase order directly. You can go through the requisition process related to project-related purchases. And then for manufacturing companies, MRP can drive your purchasing process. And then on the inventory side, you can define, reorder points and reorder policies, which can also drive generation of a PO. So today we're going to discuss the requisition process, and I'm going to generate a requisition. Any employee in the organization can generate a requisition. They can also record time, expenses, request PTO, as well as approve documents. In this example, I'm going to start out with describing the requisition. So I'm going to say, buy new materials for the project. And then from there, I'm just identifying, the date. So we're just saying it's today. If you put in T, it automatically knows that's today. The due date is, when am I expecting to receive this in? So we're hoping to have this by next Wednesday. At that point, I'm going to identify the job. And you can see as I type, it filters the list down. So I put in, I typed in 26, and you can see that anything that has 26 and either the number or the description, it starts to filter it down. We're going to choose this Department of Health project. From there, we'll choose the WBS code. And you'll probably remember from prior Snacktime Snippets, we've talked extensively about the WBS and how within that WBS structure, we're doing multiple things. The first is we're defining what is the period of performance of that task, so that we're going to only see tasks that are currently valid, for recording time, or in this case, a purchase requisition. We can also define who can see the charge code. So in this case, I'll choose the equipment charge code, and then what type of expense it is. You're going to see the full list, and as I start to type, it's going to filter that down. These job category names can be defined by you, and they're going to map to a GL account inside the system. So we're going to say that it's equipment or material that we're purchasing. I'm going to give it a description. In this case, I'm going to say it's a drone. I could put any additional comments that I want to flow through. At this point, I can also choose who is the vendor that we're purchasing for. In this case, we'll skip that and just say that, that can be decided by purchasing the quantity and whatever that projected unit cost is. We think it's going to be $5,000. The final step would be if I needed to attach any document, whether that be a drawing, maybe I get a quote from the vendor I talked to, we could attach that document if needed. And then finally, I'll just go ahead and submit that requisition. At the point that I submitted the requisition, you'll see that some of these areas have been grayed out. The idea is once that workflow kicks off, it locks down the document. And at this point, whoever is part of that approval chain has been notified. We're not going to go through the full workflow today. We do have a Snacktime snippet coming up related to workflow process that I think you would really enjoy. And we're going to talk about Power Automate inside a workflow. So now that approver has been notified, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the requisition. At this point, we've completed the process as the end user. Actually, let me go in as the administrator. I'm in the wrong spot here. Let's go in as the administrator, and we'll look at what that document looks like. So we've notified the approver, and we're going to just pretend that they've approved the document. And now I'm going to go in as the purchasing agent and we're going to do a couple different things. So the first thing we're going to do is, if you need to get multiple quotes related to this requisition, you can go out and you can create purchase quotes. We'll determine that this needs to be competitively bid, and we'll pick a few vendors that we're going to send a purchase quote out to. These are going to be all my approved vendors, and inside of the application, we not only see the approved vendors, but each vendor, we can classify that vendor, whether they're small business, foreign owned, not-for-profit, and any of their disadvantaged classifications. So now I've chosen a few vendors that we're going to send that requisition out to. You can see those purchase quote documents. You're able to attach, once that vendor sends you, here is their quote, you can attach it. So we'll have the history of, here are the vendors that we attempted to source from. You'll have their pricing. And we can put any comments in there. Maybe you didn't choose the low price vendor, but there's a reason why, and we can go ahead and identify that. So we're in that particular requisition. Like I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and, as an administrator, I'm going to go ahead and approve that purchase quote. But like I mentioned, we've got a snippet coming up related to that whole workflow process. So once we've sourced, identified the vendors that are eligible, that document's been approved, then finally the purchasing team is going to take that last step to decide who is the vendor. In this case, we're going to choose Custom Metals as the vendor we're going to use, and we're going to accept that particular requisition line. At this point, we'll turn that requisition into a PO, and what's going to happen is we'll have a requisition filled out for this project, this type of expense, for whatever the amount is. At this point, I could update the amount if appropriate. So once I create purchase order, now what you'll see is there's a purchase order that's going to be attached to this requisition. So we'll go ahead and open the PO document. And now we've completed that process. We've got that purchase order document, and we're just waiting for the final goods to come in from the vendor. At that point, we would go ahead and receive and invoice this particular line. So you can see there's a quantity to receive out there. And then once it's completed, the last step in the invoicing process would be for us to fill in that vendor's invoice number, to make sure that we never double pay a vendor. We'd record that invoice and go ahead and post and process that. So that's the process we take you through, from generating that requisition through the sourcing, and you could see how we could get those 3 quotes. Then we turn it into a PO document. And you can see we're never rekeying any of the data. We would also see that commitment against the project where the work, where we requested that particular purchase against. So you're going to get that visibility right away on that particular commitment, and no rekeying of data as we go through. Thank you for joining us for another Snacktime Snippet. If you'd like to learn more about our solutions, you can go to our website at GovCon365.com. That's GOVCON, the numbers 365.com, or feel free to contact us, to either answer questions or personalized demonstration for your organization. Thank you and have a great day.